staying on the topic of collaboration and synergies, you had a pretty interesting collaboration with Nike and Harlem Fashion Roll that I think really catapulted the brand to the forefront of everybody's consciousness. What was that like for you when you discovered that you were going to be roped into this major Nike project working on the LeBron 16s?
I didn't even dream that dream, Nisha. Like I had no idea that that would be something that I would be a part of and do in my lifetime. But when it did come and we did get to the bottom of the basically what the heart of that collaboration, I'm like, okay, okay, God, I see what you did here. And that collaboration was strictly, it was really LeBron's love letter to Black women. He and I felt that to my core because it's the way I see my family. It's the way I see the women in my family. I talk about them. He was really just casually like wow, my mother is the strongest. She's the strongest. Look at what she's done. Look what she's been able to do, and look at how I turned out and how she's made. So it was really honoring Miss Gloria James. And when he said the way he felt about his mother, I felt that. Brandis felt that. The other two girls, Kimberly and Andra, they felt that. And when I said yes, I had no idea it was LeBron James. I had no idea it was with Nike. It was just Brandis at the time saying, Fee, I have something. I can't tell you what it is, but you should say yes. And I said, okay, yes. And then as the days unfolded, it was like, well, this is for LeBron James and this is dedicated to his mother and this is for Nike. And I still till this day replay that. And I'm like, I don't even know how this happened or what happened here, but I know that it was meant for me to be a part of this. And it was meant to tell me you're not even dreaming big enough.
That's
And that
powerful.
lighted a fire,
It's powerful.
a fire that what that did was even change the way my mindset was. I was dreaming way too small.
Would you then say that throughout the whole creative process, your mom was your muse? I imagine it had to be somewhat challenging or different, rather, designing a sneaker relative to a garment because there are different intricacies and all of that. You had to be getting or mining your inspiration from something, and I'm just wondering if that person was your mom.
I remember sitting in the Nike offices and they showed us this casual video of him. He was just talking about the like his mom and all, and we were all like, there was not a dry eye in the room, right? Because I understood what he meant. I understood that he was saying like my mom is my superhero, and that's how I feel, right? And she it was because of her that I was able to really walk into the room and design with that in mind and think about colors and um think about her strength and what this shoe needs to be made of, because I've never designed one. I wasn't a technical designer. I've never designed a shoe in my life. I've never even thought about it right at that time. So it was important for me to create like that mood board and what it should look like, and what are the things that I consider regal, right, and all that stuff. And and each girl, because Kimberly and Andra, it was a collaborative thing. Each of us had like these mood boards. We created these mood boards of what we thought meant, what we thought represented strength, what we thought represented courage, what we thought was regal, like luxury. And we all had elements that Andra took from her family, that I took from my family, that Kimberly took from hers, that we said, this is how it needs to look. And we know it has to have gold, it has to have this, and it has to have, and the reasons that we gave, like it was all a part of that creation when we were creating it. So she was my absolute muse, and my mom is my muse probably every single time, right? Like I think about her, I think about her early days in fashion, but in a different end. She was on the manufacturing end, and how that inspired me to do. I remember coming home with these suits and all these sort of things. So there's how there's always an element of Grenada, there's definitely always an element of my mom as well.
Awesome. In terms of, this shoe sold out like in like hotcakes in 2 seconds. Were you
Yes.
expecting that?
We were not expecting. I try to think back on what we were feeling at that time. I don't know if I was like, if people are gonna say like, oh, these women are designing these sneakers, and I don't know what and product. We were so happy. We were like, this is beautiful. This is so sleek. This is so amazing. But I don't know if we expected people would respond in that way and the story would resonate in that way, and it really did. So when everyone I knew, they were like, we're gonna buy it, didn't this? I'm like, yes, I'm gonna need your support, please try to buy it, not knowing that it's gonna be a collector's item. They didn't even get a chance to buy it because it sold out so fast.
I remember looking for it and they were like, nope, sold out. Sold out. Still sold out, by the way.
Yeah. It was just, that whole thing was it still feels unreal. Like I have to remind myself, like, this really happened, you really did this. We have the sneakers hanging up in my living room. My brother has it there. It's like art. And every time I walk by it, I'm like, wow, it's just a reminder of what's possible.
Talking about possibility, you had everyone's first lady gracing the stage of her book launch with your designs. I mean, what was that like, seeing Michelle Obama grace that stage with her tall, elegant frame wrapped in your pants and your top? I mean, how did that really impact your business? And forget the business part of it. How did that really impact you in terms of your self-confidence and knowing that this is me, this is my moment?
Michelle Obama, she is the ultimate muse. She is like the leading woman, right? And having her even wear my designs, what that has done is it has made me a part of history forever. And I say that because the world is going to talk about her and her grace and her presence and her time in the office and what that meant to women like myself. So when having that conversation about her, they're going to talk about how she dressed and what she wore. And she did it so elegantly. It was really at that point that my family was just like, oh, you are doing something. This is huge. Oh, maybe you can be something. It was really at that point when they were, it shifted. It shifted how they saw what I did. It shifted my business and how, and it brought it to a entirely next level, really. That was one of the highlights so far of my career. And I remember speaking that into existence with a friend, and she was like, I can see Michelle Obama walking across the stage in your clothes. And the video that I have, and the video that people keep reposting and keep replaying, is the video of her walking across the stage in Felisha Noel.
Putting it out there in the universe, coming back to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 10 years since you closed the wagon, right?
Yes.
Did you envision all of this being part of that 10-year?
Oh, you guys are really getting into it today.
Yeah. So much has happened in those 10 years. Did you ever think, when you stood there after you shut the store, that all of this would have been part of this 10-year plan?
No, I can't say that I did. I honestly can't say that I thought that. I don't remember what I was thinking at the time, I remember feeling defeated, like, okay, this didn't work the way it was supposed to. Um, but at that time, I also had the brand already. I had Simply Intricate already, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put all my love and focus um, into the brand. But I can't say that I thought I would be here today with these accomplishments under my belt.
I mean, now that you are, it's clear that you have a deep rooted sense of purpose. And I wanted to kind of dig at that and to sort of get a deeper understanding for how you process things, because I think your perspective on life has been a catalyst to why you've been able to enter the spaces you've entered. Your whole reaction and how you process things is so different and distinct that I think it really is the driving factor. And I wanted to find out, how do you take care of your holistic well-being? You mentioned that you meditate, but what is it that you're channeling into yourself to continuously reinforce these positive affirmations into your life?
So first and foremost, I'm a praying woman, day in, day out, sometimes 5 times a day, sometimes 10, depending on the day that I'm having. I really believe in having that connection with God, and I really believe it's why I'm here today. I believe that my grandmother was a praying woman, my mother's a praying woman. I believe that you have to believe in something bigger than yourself to get you through, especially when things are tough, and remembering that even when things are good. So that if I had to give it to something first and foremost, that is it. In regards to how do I keep myself sane, there are things that again, when I told you, making sure that I'm excited about life, that takes work. That takes intention. I'm intentional about what I'm taking in, and even what I'm giving off and what I'm giving out. I read so many books. I still read, not as much as I used to. I remember just during the whole process of just starting the business, I was always like reading, like looking for ways to believe in myself, looking for ways like how can I learn because I wasn't able to go to school for certain things. So I really subscribe to the idea that you can teach yourself things, that you can learn something new, that you can make yourself better. Things that I do, I run, I meditate. Music transports me. Like it is something I use every night, and even sometimes in the morning, to heal myself, to think new thoughts, to rejuvenate how I feel. Traveling, of course, is another way. There's time that time is coming very close for me now, where it's like, okay, I have to get away. Even if it's just for a little while, I have to get away. I have to rejuvenate. I don't subscribe to like beating up on yourself to get to where you have to go to. I believe in like you can only pour goodness from a cup that's full. So whatever you have to do to rejuvenate, to refresh, do that. And I'm telling you, and I tell myself that too. These are not things that I just do automatically. These are things where I have to say, Fee, you're tapping out. What do you need to do to rejuvenate? What do you need to do to be re-energized? Massage, like there's so many things that you can do. It's all about what makes you feel good as a person. To think about, like, you have to think about your personal relation. Like, what is your relationship with yourself? How do you talk to yourself? How do you see yourself? How do you love yourself? How do you love yourself? Is a question that everyone should ask themselves. And like, am I loving myself? Am I doing it the right way? Because that's what gives you the power to continue.
A really big part of staying positive is your tribe. And I wanted to just address that aspect of your life a little bit. Who are your tribe members and what is your tribe like? And how intentional are you with your tribe in terms of who you bring into your sacred space, and how do they reinforce your positive ideals and your goals, and how do they keep you grounded and headed on that same growth trajectory that you've been on for these past couple years?
My tribe is super important. I really have a close set of and I break it up in twos because I have like my family and my friends, and then I have my work tribe who's also turned into family and friends because they spend the most time with, like, if you've heard me, if you know me, you know Jasmine, who has been with me from the beginning and has kept me going even when I want to give up. And then later on, about Itasia Jordan, who has really took my ideas and my thoughts and really just like she just sprinkled magic on what Fee Noel is. And I have my close set of friends who I confide in and who are there for me, and I'm there for them. I have my family. Again, I come from a very close-knit family, and we are 110% supportive of each other and what we want to do. And I couldn't be who I am today without all of those things present. I am very, very grateful, but also I I know what I have, right? Like, I'm very aware that they're all gifts to me, and I see them as such and I treat them as such. And this is how I've been able to grow that, nurture that, and use it as sometimes healing for myself. Sometimes they're my cheerleaders to keep going. It really, when you when I said earlier in the interview just about good energy, when you put that out, there's something you're going to need to tap into, right? Because things are not always going to be sweet and peachy. There's going to be dark also. There's going to be a lot of dark. And you need to have something good to tap into so that when you're depleted, you have someone there that can rejuvenate you or remind you. And those are what those people do for me. And it's only, I have such a Itasia, like having Itasia in my life came with other people like Jean and Agnes and Aaron. The list goes on. Like, I've created such a circle for myself that is full of positivity, and I've met so many amazing people along the way with just having some of these people in my life. So it's important that you have a good team around you, good people around you. And I can't imagine life differently. Like, I just can't imagine anything else. So I always tell people, like, find your people, find your tribe, and you'll know when you find them. You'll absolutely know.
What's next for you and for your brand?
Oh man, what's next? What's next for me is building longevity. It's building legacy. It's really helping and assisting Fee Noel to reach its highest potential. And I talk about Fee Noel separate as myself sometimes because I see it as something that has now gotten bigger than me, the woman. Um, and even when I'm designing, it's like, oh, I aspire to be that Fee Noel woman, right? It's a figment of my imagination. Also, I also aspire to be who she is. And um really, really honing in on that, really building a strong business. When people ask me what's next, it's like creating staying power is also a goal of mine, right? And
Do you think,
that's the journey I'm on now.
do you think we'll see retail outlets? in
Yes.
the
Yes. You're going to see retail outlets. You are going to really, I'm not going to say too much, but we are working super, super hard to really bring to life the Felisha Noel experience. So stay tuned and you are going to see all the good stuff for us, and keep us in your thoughts, put that energy out there for us, because we absolutely thrive. We thrive off of everybody cheering us on.
So bringing everything back full circle, I'm just gonna mention a couple phrases or words, and I want you to just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay. Representation. Female
Say,
representation.
say it again.
Female representation. What do you think of when you think of that?
Female representation. What do I think of when I think of? The first thing that came to your mind is Michelle Obama when you said female representation.
Okay. Grenadian speech.
Paradise.
Horses.
Horses. What do I think of? Freedom.
Your son.
Unconditional love.
Mom.
A queen.
And what do you think about Felisha Noel? Gotta stop with that one.
Humor.
Humor.
Humor. Life.
Okay, I see that. Well, it's certainly been a pleasure speaking with you. It's such an important thing for me to be able to identify women who are not even, older heads, but people who are in my age group who are doing their thing and succeeding, because it's really important for me to have representation. And there is such a beautiful story in your business and in who you are. And I think lots of Grenadians on this side of the pond are really ecstatic and excited to see how you continue to blossom, because your growth brings visibility and attention to our little island. And it also gives hope to, girls that are growing up who may not have much. And it tells them that there is a future ahead, and that once you have the right mindset, you can get to where you want to go. So I'm really happy that you decided to share your story. And we are cheering you on over here from this side. And I'm all around pleased. I'm really pleased that you were very candid today. And if you have anything else that you like for people to know about you before we close, just
well, thank you, one, for having me. It is an honor to really be able to sit here and connect with you and talk to you in such a candid way. And also, I do want your viewers to know you are part of the reason I was able to really tell my Grenadian story. I had this big idea, and my cousin at the time, Simone, said, well, let's talk to Nisha. And you were able to get Christine, whatever you said to her, to really take a meeting with me. And that led to all of that's happening right now. It led to me being able to talk about Grenada on the platforms that I've been able to talk about Grenada, and even Grenada being receptive and open as well. So you played a really, really big role in this dream that I had to really involve Grenada in my trajectory, my fashion trajectory, and create. There's even a bigger plan out there, right? That's unfolding, that I'm working on. And I do want you to know that because of you just saying yes, right? Because I don't even know what you did know about me at the time, but just going with the feeling of saying yes, that has opened up a path for me. And that's why I mentioned the networking thing, because I couldn't even network, right? I wasn't in the same room with you to network. It didn't happen that way. It just happened with pure like connection, and you deciding like, okay, I'll do that for her. So I do want your listeners to know the role that you played in this Fee Noel Grenadian dream that's happening and unfolding. And again, thank you. I'm happy to be able to speak. I get scattered brain sometimes, so I'm always like,
A good job.
I try to remember. I try to remember, and I like going back because it also helps me feel grateful. To it helps me remember like what I've come from to where I am now. So thank you for having me. Thank you for taking the time out to want to talk to me, and just even for viewing me in that light as well. So I appreciate you, and I love I love what this is going to do. I love what you're going to continue to do. And I know this is just the beginning.